People who've done it with celebrities. How was it? I'm starting to figure out people who bang celebrities and on Reddit. People who bang on Reddit. Slept with the lady that used to do the morning news in my city. This was at least 15 years ago. She is a blanket stealer and puts her cold feet right between your legs when she wants them warmed up. Now everyone knows Cassie. A co-worker's sister slept with Chris Evans before he was famous. Same town. She worked it into every conversation she could. Cause why wouldn't you? Some girl in my high school was one of the girls at the club that got picked up and did it with one of them Jersey Shore dudes. I saw her on the TV and almost died laughing. Girl I know slept with G-Eazy in 2015 before he was really big. He gave her chlamydia. LMAO. Before AIDS was a thing, a friend of mine slept with Christopher Walken. He was in town for one night and told her that's all they'd have. She was fine with that. She said he was a perfect gentleman and a very sweet lover. He kept telling her how beautiful she was and made her feel like a queen. Great until they kicked me out of the wax museum. I banged the mascot for Hamburger Helper. Well, if this thread has taught me something, it's that celebrities are riddled with STDs. A friend slept with the lead singer of City and Colour when they were touring university campuses in the early 2000s. She bragged about it to anyone who would listen. That ended a few weeks later when she realized he gave her chlamydia and genital warts. Slept with Western Kentucky's mascot after a drunken day at Churchill Downs. She refused to keep the head on. Still 10/10 experience. Yes, the big red blob thing. I once had sex with Eartha Kitt in an airplane bathroom. A friend of mine had sex with the Del Guy dude. You're jetting Adele fame when we were in college. If you know who the Del Guy is, congratulations on being old like me and my friend. Post Malone asked my ex-girlfriend if she would be interested in going home with him under the condition that she would have to eat his A. If there is one person's A I would not want to eat, he would probably be it. My friend bragged to me about getting banged by Tone Loc, funky cold Medina guy. She was 18 but seemed proud of it. About 20 years we were watching old videos and Tone Loc came on and I asked her about it and she said it sucked. He didn't shower after coming off stage. A little smelly, drunk and gave a few pumps and was done. Not me, but a girl I knew slept with some F-list reality TV douchebag. He quoted himself off the show as a chat-up line and then again after he came. She described the experience as embarrassing, but not sure for who. My wife has been in a couple of TV commercials, and I'm hoping that she will have sex with me one day, soon. Please. Friend girl of mine bang screwed an NBA player. The only detail I remember was that he was adamant about taking the condom with him when he left. Yes, crazy groupies will indeed try to impregnate themselves with used condoms as a lottery ticket. Players are instructed to never leave their men behind. No child left behind. I hooked up with the drummer of Slipknot when they were in town. Twice. I was working at a strip club and he wanted lap dances. He paid me to do a lap dance for like, at least an hour. It was a ton of money. We bonded in conversation in that time. He invited me to hang out at his hotel, which I was still naive enough to not know if that just meant hanging out. I liked him though. We had fun. And he put me on the guest list. I went to his show the next night, went backstage, checked out the tour bus, and then met him at his hotel again. For the answer to how was it, he was good. It was fun. My grandma is from Memphis and dated Elvis for a while before he became mega famous. She has tons of pictures of them together and has told me tons of anecdotes that I have only seen in a few other places. I've seen only 6 of the pictures. I believe she had more, but she mentioned she only shows them to family now because some had been stolen. And yes, for those asking about age, Elvis would be 83 this year and my grandma just turned 79. So she would have been a few years younger than he and certainly very below 18. She told me lots of stuff, but for some reason the thing that sticks out to me the most and always makes me smile is that he loved bumper cars. 3 of the 6 photos she showed me were taken at different amusement parks fairs and 2 of them were in front of different sets of bumper cars. Just thinking of a young Elvis laughing and ramming into my grandma makes me smile. Unfortunately I live over 9 hours away from her, so I can't just ride over and upload the photos online. And honestly I'm not sure if she would approve of that, but I will try and remember next time I go down there. Jenna Jameson kissed me on the mouth at a strip club in Ohio. That's all I got. I have a friend that slept with one of the guys from Metro Station about 5 years after we thought they were cool for a year. Apparently he wanted zero foreplay. Finished within a minute or two. Then basically threw her out. I saw Danny DeVito cursing out a cyclist who nearly wiped him out. Getting out of a private cab once in San Fran was almost as good as sex. I got it on with the star of a popular 80s sitcom. She rocked my world. To protect her anonymity, I will refer to her only as B. Arthur. Knew a girl who did it with Zac Efron. Had to sign an NDA. Told me he wasn't all that great in bed. In other words, the fantasy was better than the reality. Still fanboyed over him hard apparently. A little bit late to this. Using a throwaway, I slept with Matt Healy from 1975 a few years back. It was awful. He lasted about 5 minutes. Proceeded to smoke all of my weed and then spend about an hour talking about himself and why his music was groundbreaking and going to change the world. A girl I went to high school with dated Jason Ackerman, Wee Man. Shortly before Jackass 3 came out, he visited her family in WI around Thanksgiving time. But he hated WI so much that he paid her best friend to drive him to the airport in the middle of the night. I talked to a girl once outside a music venue and we got to talking about the same topic. Celebrities and she said her friend had sex with Atreyu from the Neverending Story. They had sex on the beach somewhere in like Costa Rica. I was like, that's cool. I bet he's kinda attractive as an older man. And she was like, yeah, he was hot. But he gave my friend herpes. And I say, well, I guess that's her Neverending Story. I stood 2 feet away from Ethan Hawke in Tulum, Mexico at the restaurant, Heartwood, and that's the closest I've been to a celebrity's genitals. I worked in DC for a congressman when Brad Pitt came to talk to Pelosi about his charity. He nodded at me when he walked by me in the rotunda. Nodded. My nana was in a serious relationship with Nash of Crosby, Stills and Nash. I knew a girl who was an escort. She had sex with Derek Jeter. Afterwards he called a limo to take her home. In the limo was a gift. It was a baseball signed by Derek Jeter. A buddy of mine dated a celebrity of American Pie fame, a certain foreign exchange character. He has my eternal jealousy but was a gentleman on the details. I did get to meet her and play poker at her house though, so there's that. It wasn't sex but I did beat her at a couple of hands, so that was cool. Then she cheated on him with a dance show partner. Disappointing all round I think. My buddy is a redditor, one of the few that I know are viral, so I am curious to see if I hear about this. My sister F.Ed Drake. I walked into her room like 10 years ago and she was Skyping him. I waved to him and said hi and he showed me the studio he was sitting in because I was skeptical. Pretty cool. I guess they met up after his show in the city we lived in at the time and then never spoke again lol. On a trip to Vegas, one of my friends F'd Michael Jordan. She said it was painful and fairly fast. She won't ever stop talking about it. A woman I worked with had a one-night stand with Captain Obvious from Hotels.com, whom she met at her NY Jazz Club. She pretended that she didn't recognize him in order to prevent being seen as a gold digger. She was hoping to get into a short-term relationship with him and hopefully he would give her some money and buy her a Lexus, which she really wanted. Later she found out that he wasn't Captain Obvious, just looked very much like him. A friend of a friend slept with Shawn Mendes. Apparently it wasn't something to write home about. I did not sleep with but did a little more than made out with Drew Barrymore. It was rad. My ex slept with Till from Rammstein after a gig once many years ago when she was a gothlet. She said he was very respectful, mildly kinky, wanted to have sex on the hotel balcony with her bent over the rail over the city so people could see, and apparently had skin as soft as a baby. Apparently he was nice, bought her breakfast the next day, invited her back for a second sesh the next day then moved on in his tour. I used a gender-neutral bathroom with James Franco. We made eye contact and smiled at each other when we were washing our hands. A friend of mine slept with Perez Hilton. Would you be surprised if my friend said it wasn't very good? My wife's grandmother dated Ted Bundy. Said he was a wonderful and charming guy. I hooked up with Zoe Deschanel in 2005. I was a bit of a premature Pete, but she was really sweet about it and I got her a cab after. I used to know a dude who claims to have met Amanda Bynes in the mental hospital rehab. They dated for a while. He said she was very unstable and clingy and honestly terrifying to be with. I wish I could remember some of his stories. A couple of years ago I met the Frozen Snowshoe. He invited me to his place and showed me his harvest trays. Everything was great but Then he asked me to do the old King Clancy's, which I politely declined.